Everyone, welcome back to Unsolicited Bourbon Reviews, episode 76. We're getting back into the sprint to get here to the finish line. So I figured to kind of get us back on track to really where we want to be with some of these. I think this is a good opportunity to get back to the basics. So today we're going to be reviewing Woodford Reserve. This is Distillers Select. This happens just to be the Kentucky Derby edition, the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby, which was last year, and they just produce special edition bottles every year for the Derby, so it's pretty cool. A lot of people collect these, especially in 2020 when they didn't run the race. These bottles went pretty high in the aftermarket. I actually had one, and it didn't really register that. I should have maybe held on to it. But anyways, so I think this, I'm excited to do this one, because I think it's, I already have my initial thoughts on Woodford, especially their Distillers Select, which is like their normal flagship. We've already done their Double Oaked, which is one of my favorite. And that was top 5 bourbons that you should have on hand. I remember we did that quite some time ago. But, this is actually the official bourbon of the Kentucky Derby. Ironically enough, even though it's owned by Brown Foreman, who owns Jack Daniel's Old Forester, the official mint julep base is Old Forester. I personally think the best mint julep is made with Makers, but that's me. But nonetheless, mint juleps are actually my favorite drink to have, especially in the summertime. They're just incredible. And if you go to the Derby, everyone's drinking mint juleps. So, I think Woodford is probably one of the best utility players in terms of, affordable. We'll get to the price point. It's good entry level bourbon. And I think it's like, especially if you're like in a pinch, right? So say if you're traveling at a restaurant, like everywhere carries Woodford. I think even the shooters, like on the plane, if you're flying, it's Woodford. And so you kind of can't miss with it. I think it's again, it's already pretty solid pick. And, if you're tasked out with bringing, a drink to, bringing a bottle to a party or something like that, again, it's a little bit different than showing up with a handle of Old Number 7. So I think, you don't really get the nasty looks if you bring in a bottle of Woodford Reserve. So this is 90.4 proof. So again, it's on the lower side. It's aged 6 to 7 years. And the mash bill is 78% corn, 12% malted barley. 12% rye, 10% malted barley. Let's go ahead and we'll taste it. We'll talk about it, and we'll go ahead and give the initial rating. So, the nose. So I really get your typical bourbon, your vanilla, your caramel, a little bit of oak in there. Do kind of get like a weird, not weird, but different graham cracker smell on this. And, for it being only, I guess is a critical point, for it only being a 90.4 proof, you get a lot of ethanol, which is, this is distilled like 3 different times to get it down to 90 proof. So it is interesting that, the ethanol still jumps out of the glass, even though it's a lower proof. And it's aged 6 to 7 years. It's not terrible, but again, it's noticeable. Overall, the nose is nice. And, again, I don't really have any complaints or anything critical on the nose on it. So go ahead and give it a taste. Taste, it's a little dry up front. You get that light oak, and then it kind of levels out to that nice caramel vanilla. Kind of gets that palette of a sweetness that you'd want out of it. Not too sweet. So again, it's really redeeming quality that this can satisfy pretty much everybody. Is that it's not too harsh, it's not too oaky. It's just your nice center mass, run the mill bourbon. I think that really one can get into, especially as an entry level or your basic bourbon. That you can find pretty much anywhere. So, and the finish, it's thin, it's a little light. For 90 proof, it's not terrible, but it's not, you're not getting that punch that you normally get with the higher proof stuff. So, we'll go ahead and give it another taste. Smooth, very thin. It's well balanced. There's a lot of different flavors on it. Don't really get too much fruit on it. It's more traditional bourbon profile with your caramel, oak, vanilla, a little bit of spice, a little bit of cinnamon on there. Price point, $35. A lot of times you can find it even cheaper. You can't miss with that. So I think for price point, this is a solid 8. Taste, this is a 7. It's just all around solid, nothing crazy, but again, it's so accessible. You see it everywhere, you just can't miss. So I'd say this is overall 7.5. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Thanks a lot.